On Christmas Eve, 2002, a young, 8 months pregnant woman named Laci Peterson vanished from her home in Modesto, California. What followed was a media circus that gripped the entire world, ending in the conviction of her husband, Scott Peterson. For over 20 years, the case seemed closed. Scott was locked away, eventually receiving life without parole. But just months ago, in April 2026, a judge issued a massive 116-page ruling that may have finally shut the door on Scott Peterson's last desperate bid for freedom. Supported by the Los Angeles Innocence Project and pointing to hidden evidence, Scott claimed he was an innocent man. Today, we are breaking down the entire timeline, from the chilling deception that exposed his double life, to the 2026 decision that seals his fate forever. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Let's dive in. To the outside world, Scott and Laci Peterson were living the American dream. They were young, attractive, and eagerly awaiting the arrival of their first child, a baby boy they had already named Connor. Laci's due date was just weeks away. But on December 24, 2002, the illusion shattered. Scott called Laci's family, claiming he had returned from a solo fishing trip at the Berkeley Marina to find their home empty. Their dog was wandering the neighborhood with its leash still on. Laci was gone. Initially, the community rallied around Scott. Thousands of volunteers joined search efforts. But behind closed doors, investigators were already uneasy. Scott's demeanor didn't match that of a frantic, grieving expectant father. He seemed detached. Calm. Too calm. And then, just weeks into the search, the police received a phone call that changed everything. Her name was Amber Fry, a massage therapist from Fresno. She called the police hotline with a bombshell. She was in a romantic relationship with Scott Peterson. They had met in November, just a month before Laci disappeared. But here is the detail that sent chills down the spines of detectives. Scott hadn't told Amber he was married. In fact, weeks before Laci went missing, Scott told Amber that he had lost his wife, and that this would be his first Christmas without her. Scott had predicted Laci's disappearance before it even happened. Working with the police, Amber Fry became a secret informant, recording hours of phone calls with Scott. While the public was lighting candles at vigils for Laci, Scott was on the phone with his mistress, spinning elaborate lies about traveling in Europe. The search dragged on for 4 agonizing months. Then, nature forced the truth to the surface. In mid-April 2003, a heavy storm battered the San Francisco Bay. On April 13th, the remains of a full-term male infant washed ashore in Richmond, California. The very next day, the partial remains of a female body were found nearby. DNA confirmed what everyone feared: it was Laci and baby Connor. The location where the bodies were found was directly adjacent to the Berkeley Marina, the exact spot Scott claimed he was fishing on the day Laci vanished. Recognizing the net was closing, Scott made a run for it. On April 18th, police intercepted him in La Jolla, California, over 400 miles south of his home, right near the Mexican border. When they pulled him over, the mask completely dropped. Scott had dyed his hair and goatee a stark, bleached blonde. Inside his car, police found $10,000 in cash, survival gear, camping equipment, 4 cell phones, and his brother's driver's license. Scott Peterson wasn't just grieving, he was preparing to disappear. The 2004 trial was a media sensation. The prosecution presented a powerful circumstantial case. They argued that Scott, burdened by financial pressure and the impending reality of fatherhood, murdered Laci on the night of December 23rd or morning of the 24th, loaded her body into his boat, and used homemade concrete anchors to sink her body into the depths of the bay. The defense argued there was no forensic evidence, no blood in the house, no struggle. They claimed Laci had been abducted by strangers, potentially linked to a burglary that occurred across the street from the Peterson home around the same time. But the jury didn't buy it. The combination of his affair, his pre-planned lies to Amber, his fishing trip location, and his bizarre disguise during his arrest painted a picture of undeniable guilt. In November 2004, Scott Peterson was found guilty of first-degree murder for Laci and second-degree murder for Connor. He was sentenced to death. For over 15 years, Scott sat on death row at San Quentin. But this case refused to stay quiet. In 2020, the California Supreme Court overturned his death sentence, citing that the trial judge had improperly excluded jurors who opposed the death penalty but said they could follow the law. In 2021, he was resentenced to life in prison without parole. Yet, Scott's team was far from done. The real shockwave hit in early 2024 when the Los Angeles Innocence Project unexpectedly took up Scott Peterson's case. Known for exonerating the wrongfully convicted, their involvement made headlines everywhere. They claimed to have uncovered new evidence that police heavily suppressed during the original trial. Their main target? A dirty piece of duct tape found on Laci's remains that had never undergone modern, advanced DNA testing. They also pointed back to that neighborhood burglary, suggesting a crew of burglars kidnapped Laci after she witnessed their crime. For 2 years, the legal battle raged. Scott's team successfully won the right to test that piece of duct tape. Which brings us to April 27, 2026. After reviewing all the filings, San Mateo County Superior Court Judge Elizabeth M. Hill issued her final, definitive ruling on Scott's habeas corpus petition. The result? A total defeat for Scott Peterson. The judge denied his petition in its entirety, completely dismantling all 14 arguments brought by his defense. The ruling stated that the theories presented lacked merit, failed to prove actual innocence, and were procedurally barred. The DNA testing on the duct tape did not yield the bombshell exoneration Scott's team had promised. Judge Hill wrote that the evidence used to convict him over 2 decades ago remained ironclad. While Scott Peterson's attorneys have stated they intend to appeal this latest ruling, legal experts agree this was likely his last realistic path to a new trial. At 53 years old, Scott will almost certainly spend the rest of his natural life behind the bars of Mule Creek State Prison. After more than 23 years of headlines, appeals, and intense speculation, the justice system has spoken once again. For Laci's family, it is another painful reminder of a tragedy that began on a quiet Christmas Eve, but it is also a confirmation that the man responsible remains exactly where he belongs. What do you think about the judge's recent 2026 ruling? Do you think the circumstantial evidence against Scott was always enough, or do you think there are still unanswered questions? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't miss the next case.